You know that Monday feeling? Fresh week, fresh start, maybe another fresh set of rules you're promising yourself that you'll stick to this time. But by Wednesday, you're already exhausted. And by Friday, you're telling yourself, well, I'll just start over again on Monday. If this feels like your life on repeat, you're not alone. And today I want to show you what's really going on underneath this cycle and how to finally step off the hamster wheel.
Welcome to Unbodied Love, where we're rewriting the rules around food, body image, and self-acceptance. I'm Dr. Meredith McKenzie, therapist, coach, and your guide to a life free from diet culture and food guilt. If you ever felt stuck in the cycle of binging, restricting, or struggling to feel at home in your body, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore emotional eating, body image, and joyful movement through solo episodes, expert interviews, and real-life coaching sessions. Because your body is not the problem. This is your space to learn, heal, and finally break free, and to discover what it means to love the body you're in.
I hear this story in my sessions with clients again and again. And if you're listening, I wonder if it might sound familiar to you too. It usually starts on a Monday. You've done the big grocery shop over the weekend, maybe stocked up on produce, meal prepped a little, or carefully mapped out your macros. You're feeling pretty confident. Maybe you're following a plan that you bought online, or just dusting off some of those old rules you've carried with you for years, like don't eat after 7 p.m. or bread is only allowed at lunch if you've worked out. The first few days of the week, they feel tough, but you push through on motivation. You're excited about it, even if it's hard. There's a sense of pride in sticking to it, like a little bit of a rush comes from the feeling like, yeah, I'm back on track, I've got this. But then by midweek, it hits. Work deadlines, family schedules, and the everyday demands of real life start to pile up. What felt hard on Monday and Tuesday now feels almost impossible by Wednesday. You start to get that sense of white-knuckling your way through the cravings, or trying to talk yourself out of snacks, or skipping meals because you're too busy, and telling yourself that, yeah, I'm still winning, I'm still doing this. But underneath, your body is getting louder, hungrier, more tired, and more frustrated with every step. By Friday, the wheels come off. And honestly, it makes sense. The need for escape, for tuning out, for turning off, for just a little bit of relief is real. By the end of the week, most of us are craving rest and comfort, or at least connection. And we live in a culture that reinforces this. Friday night is pizza night. You've earned that dessert. You deserve a break. These aren't shameful beliefs. They're completely human responses to a system that's been asking you to run on empty all week long. But here's where the frustration really kicks in. By Saturday morning, you feel like you have undone everything. The guilt is heavy. By Sunday, you're already strategizing the fix. And by Monday, you're back at the grocery store repeating the cycle, promising yourself that this time you're going to stick to the plan. And each time, it feels like you failed again. My clients often say to me, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get it together? And the heartbreaking truth is, it's not that they're failing. It's that cycle itself is set up to fail. And it was never built to last. Here's the thing about Mondays, New Year's, or any so-called fresh start. As humans, we love them. There's something about this sense of a blank slate that feels so appealing, like anything is possible. You can imagine the best version of yourself with no mistakes yet on the record, and it feels like the whole world is your oyster. The problem is that fresh start often comes with a really rigid plan. You tell yourself, this time, I'll be disciplined. This time, I'll follow through. And honestly, that makes sense, wanting to feel prepared, wanting to be planful. And what usually happens is that the plan itself becomes so strict and so rigid that it leaves no room for the reality of life, even if you tell yourself you're trying to be balanced. Here's where the all or nothing thinking sneaks in. The rules are pretty much black and white. If you stick to them, you're successful. If you step off even once, you've failed. And because failure feels so wrapped up in guilt and shame, it doesn't just feel like one misstep. It feels like you've been sucked into this black hole of disappointment and frustration. And climbing out of that space is incredibly hard. What I find truly heartbreaking is that this shame cycle blinds you from noticing what your body actually needed in that moment, that maybe there was a way to honor what your body was saying to you and take a little step off the sidewalk and then come back on. Instead, the story becomes, well, I did something wrong. I messed up. The only way to fix this is to double down on being even more strict. And that's when the cycle really tightens its grip. It's not just a physical restriction, it's mental restriction too. You've probably heard me say this on the podcast before. You can be saying, yeah, all foods are allowed, but if in your mind you still believe that chocolate or pasta or bread are bad, then eating those foods automatically feels like you've done something wrong. And that mindset guarantees that you're going to feel guilt when you do eventually eat them, even if your body genuinely needed them out of hunger or, just felt good because it was a part of a celebration that you were attending. I think back to my own childhood, and I can see this cycle so clearly. My mom, hi mom, tried all kinds of different diets and fads over the years. The ab roller, the stationary bike, Atkins, Weight Watchers. Each one started with excitement, almost like this proud announcement. This is the new thing that I'm going to be doing this time. And there was this sense of hopefulness, almost a glow around it. And in the beginning, she really did stick to it. But I also remember moments when it was obvious that she felt deprived, like when the rest of us went for ice cream and she had to say no. She wasn't angry about it, but you could see she wished she could join in too. And then almost suddenly it would be over. She'd quietly stop following the rules. And what stands out to me now is not just that the diet ended, but the silence that came after it. The shame that made it hard to even talk about it. And that's what so many of us carry. Not just the memory of trying and failing, but a growing pile of evidence that we're not capable, that we're destined to start strong and burn out, and we'll always need another Monday reset. It's like rebooting your computer over and over again without ever addressing the glitch that's slowing it down. You keep shutting it off, starting fresh, and collecting more proof that it must just be broken, when really the system just needs a different type of fix. So if the Monday reset doesn't work, and trust me, it doesn't. I know it doesn't. I've heard the story so many times I can guarantee you that this Monday reset is not going to work. What is the alternative? It starts with loosening the grip of all or nothing thinking. Life is not a perfect plan to be executed flawlessly. Life is messy, it's flexible, and when we let it, it can be joyful. The goal isn't to create a rigid set of rules and force yourself to follow them. The goal is to build rhythms and anchors that support you through the ups and downs of your week. That might look like making sure you always have a satisfying lunch on hand, but also giving yourself permission to grab takeout when the day gets away from you and suddenly you're starving and you don't have a plan. Or having a flexible snack plan in the car for when you're stuck in traffic instead of waiting until you're home and absolutely starving and then raiding the pantry. These small choices aren't about being good or bad. They're about listening to what your body needs in real time. Not following an external plan, but being in tune with yourself. It also means shifting your definition of success. And we do this in so many areas of our life as well, where we get this ideal of what success should be, and it trips us up. Success isn't following a perfect plan with no mistakes. Success is noticing what happens when things don't go as planned and learning from it without spiraling into shame and doubling down and making things worse. Success is being able to say, well, that didn't go as I expected, but what does my body need right now? And here is, I hope, the most freeing part. When you stop treating every deviation from the plan as a failure, you stop needing a Monday reset at all. You just keep moving forward. One meal, one snack, one choice at a time. And this is where the real work of food freedom comes in. Because what keeps you stuck isn't a lack of willpower, it's the mental restriction, the guilt, and the constant cycle of rebooting. And once you learn how to step out of that cycle, everything changes. And if you're listening to this and thinking, yes, this is me, this is the hamster wheel that I can't get off of, then I want to invite you into something I created just for this moment. It's called Food Freedom Rewind, a private podcast. If you like podcasts, come join me, where I walk you back through the early moments where diet culture hooked you in. the subtle messages that made us disconnect from our bodies in the first place and show you how to press stop on that cycle. And as a bonus, when you sign up for Food Freedom Rewind, you'll also unlock a special bonus for my program, Food Freedom in a Weekend. This program gives you a clear step-by-step way to stop starting over again every Monday and instead build rhythms that last without guilt, without shame, and without needing a reboot again. So head to meredithmackenzie.ca/rewind to grab access. You'll get instant entry into all the episodes, plus your bonus for Food Freedom in a Weekend. Starting over on Monday isn't proof that you've failed. I want to remind you one more time. Starting over on Monday isn't proof that you failed. It's proof that the system you were taught was never built to work. The good news is you don't have to live in that cycle. You can let go of the reset button, stop rebooting, and finally create a relationship with food that doesn't need to start over ever again. So let's stop waiting for Monday. Start today with Food Freedom Rewind. The link is there for you in the show notes.
That's it for today's episode of One Body to Love. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. These conversations around food and body image can be deeply personal, and the fact that you showed up today open and curious means more than I can say. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Meredith Mackenzie. Send me a message, share what stood out, or just say hi. If you're ready to take the next step toward food freedom and finally feel at home in your body, head to meredithmackenzie.ca/OBTL to learn more about the One Body to Love program. You'll find everything you need to begin healing your relationship with food with support every step of the way. If you're enjoying the show, one of the best ways to show support is by leaving a quick rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. Your words help more women find this space and feel less alone. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You deserve a life of peace with food and your body.